What happened in the previous chapter was Lavis and Mash finally faced each other. Lavis used Magnet Ball and he was attracting and repelling Mash, causing him to be flung and stuck onto the spiked ball. Before long, Mash found a way to circumvent it and quickly circled around the ball so as not to be pulled by the magnetic force. Because of this, he managed to karate chop the spikes of the ball, reducing it to a munchkin. After that, Lavis suddenly changed the color of the room and filled it with north polarity. He released smaller versions of the spiked ball and bounced them around the room. This resulted in Mash getting grazed. Our hero suddenly brought out his trusty iron wand and shaped it into a baseball glove. Using this baseball glove, he caught the small balls and just using one of them, he shattered Lavis' magnetic wall. Due to extraordinary strength and spin of Mash's attack, it just went through Lavis' defense. After defeating it, Lavis showed his trump card and produced another wand, trapping Mash using a confinement box. Charles arrived and Lavis gave him one of the two keys needed to open the confinement box and save Mash. Charles went inside one of the rooms and challenged Lance, who he would be up against. In that room, the Mama's Boy and the Sister Complex faced off in a game of whack-a-mole. At first, it seemed that Lance was at a disadvantage because the mole could easily sense his magic when he was about to use it, while Charles' portal magic helped him hit the moles easily. Lance got beat up, but he didn't give up and found a way. He used his second magic as a decoy and that's when he managed to hit the mole. Charles was flung and he wondered why Lance had such a lot of perseverance. In the end, he explained that he had two reasons why he couldn't lose: his sister and the promise he made to Mash. What's up, Oni-chan? Welcome back to our manga recap series about Mashle, Magic and Muscles, a story that blends elements of Harry Potter and One Punch Man. So, let's start the video. Continuing with the thrilling tale of Mash in a world full of magic, we return to the confrontation between Lance Crown and Charles Contini. Charles got back up and said he wasn't done yet, and that he would win for his mother. However, he was once again punched and knocked down by the mole. Lance asked him for the key. Charles didn't hesitate and said he had no choice because his mother taught him to hold on to his promises. He gave the key to Lance and a portal opened. Charles explained that Lance would have a hard time returning to the room they were in earlier, so he opened a warp gate for him. As Lance was about to enter, Charles suddenly closed the door, surprising Lance. Fortunately, Lance was able to react quickly and removed his hand. However, he dropped the key there. Charles laughed and said he expected Lance to lose his hand there. Because of what Charles did, Lance knocked him down again. Lance thought to himself that he was indeed expecting Charles to betray him. At least he thought he saved time because Charles did it right away. But he wondered if Charles really was that stupid. He also thought to himself that Dot would take care of the remaining tasks. It turns out that the key fell into the room where Dot was, and before long, he saw it. After he got the key, he realized that Lance had managed to defeat Charles. After that, Dot and Lavis faced each other and the area was enveloped by an intense aura. While staring at Lavis, Dot thought to himself that Lance had already won his fight, so all Mash needed now was for him to win his own. He internalized what was happening and thought that now he was the main character and Lavis was the number 2 of the big boss. He realized that he might have a tough time in this fight. Now that he was saying he couldn't beat Lavis, it might just be a bit hard. That's all. But no, he insisted he could do it. As he claimed to be the toughest and the best of the best, Galuf arrived and said that he had finally returned. Because of that, Dot once again touched his face and took a deep breath. He motivated himself again, insisting that he could still win. But then he wondered, against 2? When Mash and Lavis fought, he said he just stayed quiet in a corner. But now he was sure that Galuf wouldn't do that. But then again, it didn't matter because he claimed he could handle it. Suddenly, Lavis commented and said that it was sad that only weaklings had come to protect Mash. However, he said Mash could leave if he wanted to. Dot yelled out, saying he wouldn't run and that he would roast Lavis. Lavis laughed and asked if it felt good to boast. Lavis quickly used his magnetic ball and attracted Dot. He also repelled him, similar to what he did to Mash before. While Lavis was attacking, Dot was suddenly splashed with acid that dissolved the floor, which surprised him. When he avoided it, Levis simply attracted him again to the ball. Dot was gasping for air due to the damage he had taken, and Levis commented that Dot was all talk and had nothing to show for it. Did he still believe that his efforts could save his friend? He pitied this fool. He should continue thinking that the world is a story and maybe he will die. In Dot's mind, Mash couldn't escape unless he won, and if Mash didn't escape, he wouldn't become a divine visionary and they would kill our hero. Because of this, Dot went into beast mode and Levis noticed his power spiking. He used Ira Cruz and said he wouldn't let his thoughts happen. He cast Machine Gun X-Plomb and it released countless fireballs in the room. Before long, he showered Levis with these fireballs. When the smoke cleared, it seemed that Levis was unharmed and said he didn't feel anything. However, he suddenly noticed several more fireballs heading towards them and realized it was a time-delayed second volley. These landed and Dot wondered if they hit. It turns out that the two were hanging from the ceiling like Spider-Man, and Levis explained that his magnets give him complete freedom of movement. And Dot shouldn't think he could hide in the smoke because Levis would just pull him out of there. He cast Magnet Ball again to do this. To his surprise, Dot suddenly jumps at him and grabbed him. Levis couldn't understand when Dot got close, but soon he noticed that Dot used X-Plomb on himself to do this. Levis was speechless as Dot held onto him. Dot yelled out, saying that Levis couldn't do anything to him if he was this close. However, Levis contradicted him, saying that Dot also couldn't cast magic at that range. Nevertheless, Dot still cast X-Plomb and said he was not like the fool Levis. In Levis' mind, he wondered if Dot was trying to kill himself as well. Dot thought that Levis' spike ball was behind him, so Levis wouldn't be able to block his attack. As Dot's attack was about to hit Galuf and Levis, he shouted that there was no depth too deep in fighting for a friend. In fact, it required courage. Unlike Levis, he was not afraid to die if necessary. And now it was the turn of the bratty rich kid Levis, who was going to die 100 times over. Dot's barrage of attacks hit, causing a large explosion. While this was happening, the next scene showed Mash running in a void of nothingness. There, he noticed something strange about the place, because no matter how far he ran, he saw nothing. He knew that Lance and Dot were doing their best outside, so he needed to get out of there quickly. The scene then returned to the battle between Levis, Galuf, and Dot. The smoke had subsided a bit, and Dot was shown to be severely injured. In his mind, he said that he managed to control that fight, but he also took a lot of damage from his own fire. He also had no magic power left, so he wished his enemies would just stay down. However, he suddenly noticed something in the smoke, and when it cleared, it showed that Levis and Galuf had not been hit at all. Levis teased him, saying the real world was nothing like Dot's fantasies. Dot was surprised and realized they used the acid to counteract the explosion. He was immediately attacked again by Levis using the magnet ball, and it hit him hard. Dot was sent flying, and Galuf followed up with his acid magic. Dot was dragged due to the strength of the two's attack. While struggling to survive, Dot thought that his magic was completely depleted and his body was at its limit. Dot pondered what he could do, considering the two opponents were too powerful for him to handle alone. He thought that his only chance was to retreat and ask for Margaret's help. Levis laughed and said that Dot was right in giving up because if he had chosen to continue, he surely would have died. Levis and Galuf combined their magic and used their magnet wall and acid pool. Levis explained that it was a magnetic wall filled with acid, making escape impossible. He said the acid would dissolve Dot's body, but most likely he would go mad from the intense pain first. In Dot's mind, he thought Levis had lost his sanity. Suddenly, Levis asked Dot if he knew that their destiny was determined from the moment they were born. However, his friend Mash was there, who wanted to become a divine visionary without any magic. Levis laughed and asked if Dot had thought about how far that was from reality. Didn't Dot understand that he could never achieve that? Levis insisted that it would never happen. As the acid bubbled on the wall, Dot told him to shut up. What was that again? Levis asked. Dot said that Levis knew nothing about Mash, so it would be better if he kept quiet about his destiny. Levis responded that he knew Dot would react this way, and he immediately attracted him to the acid-filled wall. Dot's entire body stuck to the acid and he writhed in pain. Lavis hammered it into Dot's head again that their desired outcome would never happen. After Dot experienced the pain, Lavis asked if the pain was enough for him to pass out. He said everything would be fine. When he ruled the world, he would eradicate the Magicless so that no one would have ridiculous ideas. He turned away, questioning himself why he was wasting his time on a person who couldn't even hear him. Suddenly, he heard something, and when he turned around, he saw that Dot was standing again, despite being heavily battered. Dot said it wasn't over yet. He still needed Lavis' key to save Mash, and he wouldn't give up as long as he was still breathing. Lavis was infuriated by Dot's words, so they forced him against the acid-filled wall again. While Dot was screaming in pain, Lavis didn't stop and cast Magnet Ball. He threw it at Dot, sandwiching him between two deadly attacks. After that, Dot passed out. In Galuf's mind, he thought that Lavis was indeed a lunatic, and Dot wouldn't be able to stand after that beating. As the two were about to leave, Dot suddenly grabbed Lavis' foot. Galuf was shocked by this because Dot should have been dead, while Lavis just stared in disbelief. Dot said that he believed in Mash. No matter what they said, no matter what the world said, they could laugh at Mash, they could say he can't do it, but Dot believed that our protagonist could do it because he had faith in him. Mash would become a divine visionary no matter what happened. Lavis was stunned, so for Dot, he wouldn't back down and wouldn't hide out of fear, as long as there were those who scorned his friend. His magic power rose again, which shocked Lavis, and he realized that Dot's power level was spiking because of his emotions. Dot used the machine gun X-Plumb again, causing a massive explosion in the room. When the smoke cleared, Lavis was shown laughing and saying that Dot just didn't learn. While trash-talking Dot, when he turned to look at Galuf, he saw him coughing up blood with a wound in his stomach. Galuf fell there, so he wondered how that happened. When he felt his pocket, he noticed that the key was missing. Suddenly, someone approached him, and he realized that what he had thought had happened was correct. It turned out that Mash was responsible for this and had escaped from the confinement box. Lavis was taken aback, and when he turned around, it was revealed that Dot had managed to get the key from him and said that he had done his part. Lavis realized that Dot had stuck to him and had even detonated himself just to get the key from him. Our hero took a stance, and in the end, he punched Lavis with extraordinary strength that shook his world. While Lavis was feeling the impacts of the God of Cream Puffs, our hero said to see who would be eating dirt after that. And that's where this video ends. What do you think? Will Lavis be able to stand after taking such a powerful punch? Is Dot going to die? Write your comments down below. If you want more anime and manga recaps, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on new videos.